Good God morning. Y'all ready? Y'all energized? All right. Welcome back to our dinner table. Welcome back to our community. Our spiritual living, learning, lifing, being academy. Now, Reverend Barnett said if you missed it, if you weren't here physically or virtually and you didn't get the message, go get it. And if you were here, go get it again. Okay? And that's important because last week we talked about some powerful things. And we talked about essentially who we are anywhere that we are on the planet. That who we are as spiritual beings are human bodies and vehicles that are steeped in something more greater, more profound, something resilient, something pristine, spiritual substance. And we talked about what that means for us and how we feel about ourselves, how we move, how we breathe, the thoughts that we form, our behaviors, everything that we are, no matter what it is in this human experience, first was centered in the substance of God. Because we all came from that thing. The infinite creative intelligence, the perfection inside of us, pristine and clean. And so we also, in our last discussion, talked about vehicles. And we established that while we are spiritual beings and we are steeped in this substance, that we are cut from the spiritual perfection of God, that we are here on this human plane to drive vehicles that we call bodies. And those vehicles, got some feedback. Those vehicles require maintenance. Am I good over there? All right. Now, y'all know I can go without this mic now. Is this one working? I'm good. All right, look, stand by. The growth is not linear. All right, we back. All right. So now where was I? We good? All right. And so last week we talked about vehicles. We talked about these human bodies. We talked about being in this physical plane and having experiences that are human in nature that may not always be aligned with where we know that we come from. We may have ideas about the way things should have been, things we couldn't get over, the imperfections, so to speak, the struggles, the hurdles, really the trials of greatness. That really the hurdles weren't things that didn't need to happen. They weren't accidental, but they were really things that were preparing us for something. That these were experiences that were able to grow us to the point of being here, of sitting in the seats. And so in that last message, we recommitted ourselves. We recommitted ourselves because we came to the understanding that our entire purpose, the why we do what we do, how we do, is all about elevations in our consciousness. It's all about our upward mobility. It's all about us aligning and continuously realigning ourselves with God. It's about us getting rid of the cognitive dissonance. It's about us unlearning, unpacking, and cleaning out all the lies that people and ourselves told to ourselves. That's what it's about. Those are the human seeming struggles and challenges. But nothing is too strong and can't be unmatched for you because you came from God. That if you tell the mountain that it will jump in the river, that it will, if you believe it will. Because that power derives from within you. And so last week was a theory session. It was a session for us to get an understanding about who we are, where we are on the physical plane, and for us to come to understanding, just like a child when you teach them how to swim, we're going to go to swimming lessons first. You're going to learn the backstroke today. You're going to learn the front crawl today. Well, now we're in the ocean today. This is not a theory session. This is the practicum. This is the place and space surrounded by family, surrounded by all the people that are watching, that are on a similar journey as you. All of them cut from the same thing. And so today is instructive. We're not learning how to be resilient because we already know that we are resilient. We're not trying to figure out where our purpose comes from because we already discussed where it derives from, the infinite spiritual substance of God. Today is not about rising because we've already risen. We committed to our healing last week. We said collectively that if we were sitting in these seats, that everything that we did prior to that was preparing us for this. That we were healed because we were here. Right? And so, this isn't about rising because we've already ascended. We committed ourselves to what? Spiritually ascendant communities and families. And so now, it's about building. It's about cultivating something, cultivating legacy, impact, and influence. Because you see, the overcoming isn't the end. The overcoming is not the end. You've already overcame. So what is it? If it's not the overcoming, if it is not the toil of a thing, then simply it's about building arcs. You follow me? It's about building arcs. It's about preparation. You see? It's about practices. Now, I know everybody is not familiar with our New Thought tradition, so I'm going to give you a little background. We believe in something called the 5 basic principles. The omnipresence of God, that God is everywhere evenly present, that when you were in the invisible, you came to the visible, and you go back to the invisible, that God was always with you. You understand? The perfection was always with you despite the hurdles and challenges. Number 2, the divinity of humankind, that you're cut from something so pristine yet driving in a vehicle. That there is 3, power with your thinking, the value and power of thought. That you are the thinker that thought the things that created the things. Practicing the presence, aligning yourself and getting still. praying and meditating, speaking with that still small voice, having conversations with the perfection that you know that you are. Because, see, God is not in a place. God is everywhere evenly present. Everything that is derived from it. So when you just sit down, whether you're in your car, whether you're in your office, whether you're here or anywhere on the planet, all you have to do is stand still and humble thyself. You see? And so, that's the final one. See, the minister gonna give it to you now. Okay? Number 5. The law of demonstration. It's a reason that it's number 5. It's a reason that it's number 5. See, number 5 is about right thinking, right words, right actions, and reactions. It's about the behaviors that follow that light bulb moment. Once you understand who you are, and once you understand the tools that you have, you get to the point where you get to go into the physical experience, and then you get to go be a catalyst and change a thing. That you get to clear out a thing, right? It requires practices. It requires grit. Do you follow? Grit. What is grit? You see, people often think that if you're going to be quote unquote, and put quotes around it, successful, you got to be the smartest person in the room. You got to have all the money, all the resources, all of the influence. But see, what we know about studying our human condition, our vehicles, is that our grit is the predictor of where we go on the journey. You see? That each of us get to make a decision to be co-creators with God. That we can wake up if we just think a new thought. That quite literally, that our quote-unquote toil, our embedding of ourselves into our life, our families, and our communities all reflect our willingness to grow with and be consistent in a thing. That grit is about consistency. It's about doing the work. Because, see, you can know something theoretically and ain't getting no kind of good results from it. You know what I'm saying? You going to church every day, and then during the week, ain't nothing with you from church on Sunday that you taking with on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That you can come to a place, and look, today is a fashion show. Now, I know I look good. You see? That you can come to a place where you're supposed to be entrenching yourself in the learning and in the purpose, but you get caught up in all the other stuff. That whether you're at church, whether you're at school, whether you are on your job, that, see, you were sent there for a purpose. You see? You were sent there to be a champion. You were sent there to lead and to build. And so let's delve into the instruction. First, grit. But guess what else comes with grit, y'all? Grace. You see, because when we start unpacking and getting into the real life stuff, the relationships, the behaviors, the history, the families, the friends, all of the stuff, right? When we get into that and we start having to unpack all of that, we got to forgive in order to heal the thing. To clean up what we feel is not consistent with what we know we can be and do. You see? So we have to offer ourselves grace first. You see? Because if you don't offer grace, you never get to a point of being able to bear witness to the healing. You understand what I'm saying? You have to have grace so you can bear witness to your own healing. And from bearing witness to your own healing, you do what? You set an example for other people. You see, being Christ-centered people, being New Thought Christians, being people that are on a journey to elevation, being those kinds of people, doesn't mean that you don't have seeming struggles and all of that. It don't mean none of that. But what it means is that you are more centered and aligned with the thing. That you practice something so consistently, that you're so engaged in the process that, see, my eyes can't come over here and go over here because it's always right here. You see? That, see, when I believe a thing, and when I'm aligned with it, you might catch me slipping 5%. But that other 95 is going to be so aligned with God that you are going to think that I was Christ walking right now. You understand? Because you are. Because greater things than these shall you do. Because the Christ lives within you. You see? This is a come to Jesus moment. But how do you align the practices and behaviors with what you know it to be? Because, see, we came out of the cognitive distance. Now we're in the knowing. Now we're in the practice and execution. And so it first started with you. That's where the grit and grace started, and then it started to flourish outward to other people, you see? And so, you know, once we have that realization for ourselves, see, we don't just hold ourselves to an accounting. We hold other people to an accounting too. We hold our children to an accounting. We hold our friends to an accounting. We hold our family members to an accounting. We hold everybody to an accounting. You should have did this, and I don't like that. I ain't messing with that. You can't be around me, okay? I can't work with you, okay? You done fell too many times for me. That ain't grace, y'all. You see? Because, see, when you know that your vehicle needs oil, maybe that person's vehicle needed some oil and they didn't even know that it was running low. You see? This is a collective experience. You're there to remind them that it needs oil. Now, you know you're at 75,000 miles. You might need some struts and you might need some spark plugs. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to be the mechanic that says it. You're the champion in the situation. And guess what? Once you champion them, they get to champion others. See, that's the process. That's the process. It's a expansionary thing, right? But it starts with grit and grace. And see, sometimes you're going to get tired with people's behaviors. Sometimes it might be a significant other that you done did this a little too much for me now. You understand what I'm saying? See, you got this. Now, I done told you to go to counseling now. I done told you to do that program. You ain't getting that. Now, why you ain't on that call today? Why you ain't spoke to your counselor today? Why you ain't went down to the school today? Why you ain't went to put in an application today? You get tired with all of that. The human stuff. But see, championship is deeper than that. See, you can't get caught up in your inflexibility and intransigence. You can't get caught up in the minutia. You got to see people for who they really are. Be a champion for them so that they want to champion themselves. So they want to seek deeper versions of themselves. And they may not have known it. They might curse you out for it. You understand? Y'all may not be talking for it. See, I've had friends that I didn't talk to in over 5 years, and I loved them every day. That, see, I didn't have to be physically with you, but when Christmas came, when the birthday came, or when my mind just went to certain places that I said, I send I love you message. That's grace. But that's also grit. It's showing up. It's being consistent. It's being consistent when being consistent isn't easy. Because you got to show up for yourself, but you also have to show up for the people and things that you say you care about. Because you're cultivating and co-creating an experience with imperfect vehicles. With imperfect vehicles that need oil and maintenance and sometimes might break down. Sometimes people need to call somebody, to call the roadside assistant to come put the air in the tire. Because, see, I don't know how to do that. But then the champion doesn't just become the inspirer and the motivator, but they become a teacher of how to build. You see? Now, see, I got good car coverage, okay? I can call AAA, okay, and they're going to come. But if AAA don't come, I know how to change the tire. You see? I know how to find resources to do a thing. You see, because when you're building something, you're building infrastructure. Infrastructure is like a ladder where the people climb. You're just helping to build rungs. When you build a rung, you provide an example for them of elevation. And then, because of those ideas and the example that you've cultivated, the grit and grace that you provided, they get to put more rungs on their own ladder. They get to re-oil those places on their vehicles that might be squeaky. You see? And so, while it requires grit and grace, where did we say last week that all of that started at? At the home. It started at the home. Now I'm going to expand on that. Now, I'm not talking about your physical domicile. I'm not talking about your residency that you go and put down on a paper and they tell you what precinct you can vote in. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about home that is wherever you are. This church is home. This Center for Better Living is home. Your job is home. Your car is home. When you're at the hotel traveling, you are home. Because home is a place inside of you that never leaves you. What did I tell you? You were cut from the cloth of perfection. That God never left you, so you never left home. Your physical location changed, but the spiritual preparedness, your alignment didn't change. See, you was always at home. So whether it's your dinner table, whether it's a FaceTime call, or whether it's a work meeting, you are always championing, always, in the largest and smallest of ways. That, let me tell you something. You are in a time now where, look, your words themselves have value. You got your children, a lot of them right now on TikTok right now. On Twitter right now. On social media right now. That's not a problem. That's another tool. What's the value system that you gave them so that they know how to use the tool? You see? Because their words are reaching people. They're reaching people. They're evangelizing. So what you teach them, the grit and grace that you show them, then pours out into other people. That requires you to cultivate practices at home. And what do those practices look like? It might look like a daily prayer. It might look like a family meeting. It may simply look like making a meal together. They look like having conversations. But you see, there's something in this. There's something in this. That those practices become larger practices. You see, when I was a child, I said my mother is an extremist. Okay? She went, now see, you're going down the wrong road. That's what she was saying. Okay? And you see, I couldn't understand when I was a child how the cleaning up the room turned into all these big things. How washing the dishes turned into all these big things. I was down there washing baseboards and cleaning ceiling fans. The Lord have mercy. All the things. You see? But see, the intentional practices is not enough to require a thing. You got to make it a pattern and a behavior. People have to internalize it. You see? Because when you become an adult and now you don't have, quote unquote, a guardian. Right? Remember I told y'all lead with love and not control. You see? Because when you get into the real world, you got to cultivate your own practices. Now, follow me now. All right, I'm out in the real world. I'm working. I'm making about $45,000 a year, you know. I'm paying the rent. I'm going to work. I'm doing all the things. All right. Now, is DoorDash my practice? I want y'all to, I'm being real now. We said this was about execution, right? It's about execution. Is DoorDash for you, or is finding a different nutritional source for you? You follow? I just had a whole situation yesterday because my Netflix subscription went skyrocket. You understand? That you get to change the practices. But it's intentional, you see. That's important because when the life things show up, you know where and when you can tell a thing that it needs to be dismissed. You see? That sometimes you just got to throw in a few simple things. You see? That if the subscription need to go, then it need to go. Because guess what? What are the real things that are going to grow you and cultivate you? You see? Those are the practices and things that you want to provide fuel, you see? And so when you build those practices at home and those behaviors, then people learn that. They learn the process. That they can change a thing. That if I want to end my Netflix subscription, then it's gone. Right? That also with those practices, that if I get out of alignment or out of tune, because see, you're never on the wrong path, you just weren't managing good right then. Okay? I wasn't managing good right now. So no, I do have money and I'm filled with prosperity, but this is not the right thing for me right now. DoorDash just took $9.99 from my account yesterday. I was watching it. Okay? I was watching it. You see? And so I'm going to give you an example because see, this is family stuff. This is human collective stuff. This is spiritual being stuff. This is about elevating, putting on rungs. Now, I told y'all a few minutes ago, I said I look good. I mean, I always look good. Okay? But I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. That wasn't accidental. And it didn't happen at one time. Remember that quote-unquote seeming challenging crisis that I told y'all about in COVID? where I couldn't even walk. See, you can't give up when those things show up. You continue being a champion and elevating. Because guess what happened in that situation? I changed my entire relationship with food. You see? And I learned a skill. Look, doing that thing brought me some money too. And I didn't have to go far for it. All I had to go was to the YouTube. I learned how to cook. Like really, for real, for real. Okay? And so your quote-unquote struggles and challenges, see, this is why the grit is important, because those things become opportunities. See, the grit opens the opportunity. See, I told y'all before that God did everything that he needed to do. You're just trying to reveal the thing. The grit is a part of how you reveal the thing. The grace is how you forgive yourself for all the things that you've accepted so that you can unlearn and relearn and get recentered. You see? And so that's what that looks like. You see? And so our responsibility is to multiply championship. Because that's what you're doing with your children. That's why you're teaching them and doing all these kinds of things. You see, I told y'all before that prosperity was your birthright. You see? See, and this is important. It's another practice we're talking about day to day. It looks like financial, social, political, community. See, that's where it shows up. See, because when you start aligning yourself, you got to start making an assessment and an analysis of the physical things in front of you. Is it lining up with the thing? You see? Sometimes that may look financial. Did you have a budget? You follow me? Yeah. Now I'm going to take y'all somewhere for a second. Not just a budget, because remember what we're talking about. We're talking about prosperity, and we're also talking about legacies. You see? On a small scale, a simple scale, that may look like a budget. No, I didn't go to DoorDash today or this month. No, I didn't go to Chipotle. No, I cooked at home. No, I didn't. Look, our great-grandparents and grandparents may have had meat once a week and had vegetables the other days with beans, and they may have supplemented with the grain, you see. See, that's still prosperity. Your wants are not prosperity. That you have everything inside of you that can create value. You see? That's where the prosperity lies, you see? And so the reality is that it may start with a budget, right? I'm keeping my money together, that kind of thing. But we also talking about legacies, not just individual, but collective impact. Maybe you and your community need to talk about an irrevocable trust. Maybe y'all need to have real conversations about what that life insurance policy and what that will looks like. You see? Not because we're preparing for death, but because we're preparing for life. You see? Now I'm going to give y'all some of the secret sauce. That the people that you think that got all this money, value, and influence, that they're using those things. You see? And don't tell me you can't afford the financial advisor, because you can get 10 of your people together and y'all can pay for it. That you have people in your community that have those skills. See, that's championship. That's collective impact. You see? Sometimes that may look political. Are the people that are quote unquote representing me, creating laws and all these other things, are these actions aligning with my value system? That no, I don't just have to sit down and take a thing. That I can be actionable. That the force inside of you is so great and monumental it multiplies. That this world bends because we say it bends. You see? And so we don't, because we're champions and because we inspire other people to be champions, because we create practices that are consistent with the championship and consistent with our assignment and purpose, that are rooted in grit and grace, because we do that we continuously do the work. See, you can't complain about a thing if you ain't doing a thing. You know, I'm a type 2 diabetic, and you know, my glucose is really high. But I'm still eating sausage and eggs every morning. We being real, or we being real? It's about self-assessment first, and then that expands. You have to be actionable with the thing. You got to be actionable, right? And so the fact of the matter is that action, that continuous grit allows you to always have heaven in mind. You see? Always have heaven in mind. Because your actions are actually how you change the things. That's why the law of demonstration was number 5. It's the actionable part. It's the application. You see? So whether it looks like your financial plan or whether it looks like showing up to vote, don't tell me you don't like what they're doing if you ain't showing up. Don't tell me that the laws that they passing aren't good and you haven't sat down with your community and devised a plan. If you haven't talked to people, you got to show up and be present. Because see, all you got to do is show up because you bring you with you and your value system with you. You see? That's the championship, individual and collective. And you keep heaven in mind through the actions. Why? Because heaven is rooted in your goodness. You see? So you can't, as Galatians say, you can't grow weary when you're doing good. Because see, sometimes being actionable is difficult to the engine of the car. Sometimes you drive in that car and it's like, I'm on my last leg now. You understand? You need to put some gas in me now. You need to put some oil in me now. You got to do all of that, right? Sometimes it ain't easy. But you can always replenish and restore. See, the physical resources of a car, see, they're based in oil, electricity, all these kinds of things. See, you come from an infinite substance that has no bound, that you can tap into it at any moment. If you won't walk, then you'll crawl. If you can't walk, you can't crawl, then you'll just see that wherever you are, you'll be a champion. That this body doesn't determine your championship. It doesn't determine your value. You see? And guess what? In your being a champion, you ain't got to be perfect. We already made the admission that the vehicle, the body, is not the perfect thing. It's not the real part of you, as we say. See, people get caught up in the facade. This body's the facade. You see? The real part of us, the intangible part of us, the part of us that fuels life, that thing is the piece that you got to tap into continuously. You see? You got to tap into it. And so at the end of the day, you keep heaven on the brain. See, I always got heaven on the brain. And the daily inspiration told you too. Sometimes you might need to sing a song. You see? Sometimes you might just sit down and say a prayer. You see? But you are the restoration that's waiting on you. You see? You are the restoration. That all of this human stuff doesn't matter. That you can lead because you did the work with yourself, you inspired self, You did the actionable things with self. Then you went to other people in the community and you inspired and encouraged them, and you built infrastructure so you could grow and they could grow so we could all grow together. That's championship. You see? And so at the end of the day, we cleaning up stuff that we created. We unlearning stuff. We unpacking stuff. But what are the practices? What are the practices? What is the grittiness? Yes, I'm going to take my medicine every day. You see? The body needs fuel. Follow me now. Okay? The medicine, the food, your thoughts, the way you speak to yourself, the way you speak. See, all this is a part of that. Yes, I'm going to go to my counseling sessions today. You see? If I had an addiction, that was a physical experience, but I understand I'm cut from the cloth of perfection. That even if I fall down, I'm going to get back up because I know who I am. See, because the addiction couldn't take me. You see? My struggle couldn't take me. My addiction and my struggle couldn't take my family and my friends either. Because who are we not to be? Who are we? We are the champions, the people. We are Christ incarnate. Who are we not to be? What are we not to do? That we have all the tools at our disposal, that our value comes from the inside of us. It comes from the spiritual substance. It doesn't come from a job. It doesn't come from any of those things. That whatever you have in front of you, that you're going to make manifest a thing because of what's inside of you. That's what you're teaching yourself, cultivating in yourself, and teaching people. That you are a restorer. Because let me tell you something about restoration. See, it often takes people that done been through something to help people that's going through something. It often takes people that done been through something to help somebody get over something they've already been through. You see? That no, your purpose is waiting for you right now. That no, you just got fired from Amazon yesterday, but your calling was really to be with children and to do a thing. That you put your energy into the job, but the job really wasn't the thing. That your purpose was sitting there for you all along. But you got to trust in the real thing. Don't believe the lie. Because the lie is that the external thing is what brings you value and validation. When you really embrace your purpose and you embrace the perfection and purpose of other people, that you can restore all of those broken places. You can restore them. You see, brokenness is not a permanent condition. It's not a permanent condition. It's something that can be restored, that can be rebuilt. You see, it's renunciation. Follow me now. It's resurrection. You see? You're resurrecting every time you rise to a new level of consciousness. You see? You're restoring. You're showing people that they can restore. That what did I start out with? That we build in arcs. You see? That all the stuff, the sickness, the pestilence, all the things that we don't think are good, that we weren't satisfied with, that we couldn't get over, that God showed you that you can clean out a thing. That you can replicate his goodness in all things. And do what? Then go, look, you done did the preparation. Now you're out there applying the thing. And guess what? Now that you done cleaned it out, now you can go and reconnoiter the land. You see? That you bring order to a thing. That everything gets in order and alignment because you show up. Because you show up. Your championship shows up. Your value shows up. Those 5 basic principles show up. See, because when they talk to you, they know who you are. They're reminded of who they are. You see? And you know that you can because you've already borne witness and you have evidence. You see? Because as Maya Angelou said, your passages have been paid for. Your champions paid for you. And no, they weren't perfect, but see, the paying wasn't money. It was spiritual substance that has infinite value. You see? So being a champion is about building intrinsic value. It's about cultivating a belief in yourself. It's about cultivating this collective experience. It's about having that fire shut up in your bones that you know a thing. That even when I fall and I struggle, that I will always rise and ascend. That I will build legacy. That I will put the practices and behaviors in place. That if I get lost, I can go and I can lean on a champion. And if you don't think you got a champion in your life, just show up at the One God, One Thought Center for Better Living. If you don't think that you got a champion in your life, just give somebody a call that has borne witness to it, that's been an example of it. You see, nowhere that you are on the planet are you helpless. Nowhere on the planet. That you have the grit, the grace, and the fortitude to unlock opportunity because it was always yours, because God gave you the ability to procreate and create a thing with God. You understand? And so I leave you with this. Be real champions of the Word of God. Be real champions of the Word of God. And no, I didn't say quoting a scripture. You see, this Bible lives in who you are. You see, your spiritual preparedness. Y'all seen the book of Eli with Denzel Washington? He didn't need that book. That even if you can't see a thing, that you know a thing. It's an intrinsicness about it. It's a grace thing about it. It's a getting my practices in order about it. It's about multiplying the prosperity that God gave me about it. It's about restoration. It's about knowing who I am and who you are, who we are. Because wherever I am, God is. Wherever we are, God is. And so it is. So go, be obedient, reclaim, recharge. You have risen, now lead. Now embrace the practices, champion, and understand that this whole thing we call life is a classroom of living, learning, and cultivating. So go and do the work. Don't talk about doing the work. Do the work. Do the work when it's not easy. Do the work when you feel tired. Remember that you come from something far greater. And wherever you are, the infinite creative perfection is with you, steering you, guiding you. That this physical body that's not real will go away. But God, the creative intelligence, your perfection, will remain. And so it is done, and it is so. And so it is.